Hi everybody, we're doing long division with the standard algorithm, and we're going to do this question here, 36 divided by 2. Basically that just means if I had, 36 apples, let's say, and I just wanted to put them into 2 piles, how many would be in each pile? So we're taking the number 36 and we're going one for you, one for you, one for you, one for you, till we've split it in half, basically. We're using the standard algorithm, and there are 4 steps. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. I remember it as DMSB, or does McDonald's sell burgers? And now I'm hungry and would like a burger. But let's go ahead and do our long division first. So we're using the 2 because that's what we're dividing it by. And we're dividing up this number, but we're going to do the 3 first, and then we'll move on to the right. So it's kind of like you're reading a book, go left to right. We're going to start by dividing, and what we're going to do is 3 divided by 2. So that means if I have 3 apples, how many groups of 2 can I make? Or in other words, how many times can 2 go into 3? 1 time, and we're putting it up here in the purple box. Now we're going to multiply the last thing you touched with that same 2. That 2 gets used a lot. 1 times 2 is 2. The next step is to subtract, and we're going to use the last thing we touched, which is that 2, and we're doing 3 minus 2. 3 minus 2 is 1. Our next step is to bring down. So we basically use that 3 as much as we could, and we've got our leftover 1 here. But we're going to go ahead and bring down our next digit so we have a little more to work with. So we'll bring our 6 down and put it next to the 1 because we're not done with that 1. And now we're ready to start over. We're going to divide again, and this time we're using 16. So 16 divided by 2. So you can draw a fact triangle. If you know your multiplication facts, they work with division. So 2 times is 16. 16 divided by 2 is Another thing you can do is skip count your 2's until you get to 16, and that will be however many times it was. And then another thing you could do, like we did before, is you could draw 16 tick marks or whatever and make groups of 2 and then just see how many groups of 2 you could work with. And these are all just division strategies. So when you're dividing, you can use a strategy to help you. And my apologies, you couldn't see this down there. All right, so any way you do it, we're just doing 16 divided by 2, and 16 divided by 2 is 8. We have 8 groups here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 16 divided by 2 is 8, because 2 times 8 is 16. So we did 16 divided by 2, which is 8. The next step is to multiply, and you're going to use the last thing you touched, which is the 8 and the 2. So 8 times 2 is 16, and then we subtract the last thing you touched. So here it is. It's 16 minus 16, which happens to be 0, which means there's nothing left over, and then there's nothing left to bring down, which is how you know you're finished. So that's how you do the standard algorithm. Let's just recap that real quick to show what we did. So we did 3 divided by 2, or how many times does 2 go into 3, which is 1, and we multiplied it back. 1 times 2 is 2. We subtracted and had 1 left over. We brought the 6 down, 16. Then we started over. 16 divided by 2 is 8. Multiplied back, 8 times 2 is 16. Subtracted 0, which means there's nothing left over and no remainders. If you wanted to double check this math, you would do 2 times 18 and it would equal 36.